Warning, this product contains extreme nostalgia. Has your job got you down? Is adulting not as fun as you thought it would be? Do you want a way to recapture that happiness from when you were a kid? At Retrostalgia Box, you feel like a kid again. Comics, toys, and video games hand-curated from the past and straight to your door. Unbox happiness at retrostalgiabox.com. Once again, that's retrostalgiabox.com. Yeah! Are you looking to advertise your small business? Then look no further. The PowerCast Network has over 12,000 hits per day to our channel. We have packages starting out at just $1 per day. That's right, you can advertise to an audience of over 12,000 each day for only $1. Give us a call at 815-290-9087 or drop me a line at info@braddrake.net. Welcome, everybody, to the 1987 SUPERMOD and this bonus episode. On this bonus episode, we're going to be talking about major changes to the 1987 SUPERMOD and changes to version 10, which will now become version 10.1. To start out with, the two major complaints I've received over the 1987 SUPERMOD over the last year have been number one, attributes, and number two, too high of skill levels on the wrestlers. Now, this isn't a widespread thing. This mod still gets rave reviews. The original Bones by Genadi and Friends was terrific, and then I've added hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of work into it to create venues, to create wrestlers, to create promotions, to make relationships accurate. I added hundreds and hundreds of wrestlers, and not to mention hundreds and hundreds of title belts. A lot of old NWA retired belts are in there, including promotions retired belts. So a lot of work has gone into this. It's actually gotten pretty much positive reviews across the board. However, like I just said, I have heard criticism over skill level and then over the issue with attributes. So I took both these into consideration after releasing version 10, and I have made a ton of edits, everybody. And I probably got a good 80 hours into editing the mod and turning it into version 10.1. So let's take a look at a few things here. To begin with, I have added some new promotions. I take that back. I've added one promotion, and it is an independent promotion that I didn't know that existed, and it was out of the northeastern United States, and it was called the Worldwide Wrestling Alliance. This promotion is run, it's still around today. It's been around for over 40 years. It's run by Dino Sana, however it's pronounced. So it's based out of Pennsylvania. Things get a little confusing. Some places say that it was founded in 1980. Others say it was founded in 1981. There's also some really weird stuff with the title histories too, where they have people like Demolition listed as the former champions. So I plugged it all in based on what was on their website, but I'm just not sure that it is totally accurate. For example, here's the WWA. Oh, wrong one. Here we go. Tag team. The powers of pain technically in this time period were the WWA tag team champions. So they're in there, and the title histories are in there. The lineage is in there. I'm just not sure about the accuracy of it. But I just still put it in there anyway. Okay, now, to get to the meat and potatoes of things. The complaint about wrestlers and their skill sets and stuff like that. I took that into consideration and I made edits. I made changes. Okay? So for skills, if you take a look at the Honky Tonk Man here, I'd have to say that his skill set is accurate here. Honky was a very good brawler. Honky also had a great deal of technical skill. He was trained by Roy Welch. He didn't necessarily use it, but he had the technical skill. So these have all been adjusted to, I guess, make things more realistic. I would agree, I went a little haywire with the skill sets, and I've got things back in line. But you can't tell me that Honky Tonk Man didn't have 80 charisma. You can't tell me he didn't have 80 for acting. And you can't tell me that he wasn't a 75 star quality, because he was. All right, popularity. I also dealt with popularity. Honky Tonk Man was a legit 70 over in America and Canada. So that's been adjusted. Okay. Let's take a look at Jerry Lawler. Okay, for Jerry Lawler's skills, his brawling is an 85. I don't think anybody out there could tell me that Jerry Lawler wasn't an 85 in brawling. Now, technical, this is probably a little too high for Jerry Lawler. We're going to bump Jerry Lawler down while I'm here talking to you, live and in living color. We're going to dump his technical down to 51. Now, his psychology is a 95, and I'm not changing it because Jerry Lawler had some of the greatest psychology in the history of wrestling, even in 1987. He could make a match with anybody and knew what he was doing. Okay? Charisma, microphone, acting, star quality, exact same thing. His basics. Well, I'll tell you what. His basics are probably a little high here. Let's take his basics down to 70. Okay? Selling, I'm not changing it from 85 because Jerry Lawler could sell. He could make anybody look good. His consistency was excellent. His safety was tremendous. His stamina was very good. Okay, but his athleticism's down where it should be, and everything else is too. So, again, this is pretty darn accurate as far as Jerry Lawler goes. Right? I have gone through and I have edited hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wrestlers, everybody. Let's take a look at one of the complaints was the athleticism of the Road Warriors. The Road Warriors were world-class powerlifters. So to me, that's why I had their athleticism so high. I've dropped it down to a 75, and I think that's a legit number because the Road Warriors were really good athletes for men their size. I don't think that can be disputed. They were doing drop kicks. They were flying off the top turnbuckle. These guys were 300 pounds. Well, Hawk was about 275. Animal was about 300. I think it's realistic. I don't think their brawling can be disputed. Their brawling was an 85. Their Puro Riso was excellent. Psychology was lacking, so we made the adjustment. Basics were lacking. Selling was lacking. In fact, I'm going to drop their selling even more down here. We're going to drop it to about a 55. It's the same thing with Hawk here, very similar skill set. I'm going to drop it down to a 55. All right, so this is what's been changed, everybody. I have gone through and made these adjustments. I also want to show you something that wasn't in any of the previous versions, and that is hiring preference. Okay? Now, see, Bill Watts was a good booker. His booking skill is extremely low here. We're going to bump his booking skill up to a 60 because Watts could book. His hiring preference was legit tough guys. Okay? So that's adjusted. Also, attributes. Everybody knows he was a bully, right? So bully has been added in. I've added attributes for hundreds of wrestlers. Let's take a look at Rick Rude, for example, for his attributes. Okay? He was a bodybuilder. He was definitely a born fighter, right? He was a drinker. He was driven. He was a smoker. That's for certain. He was a steroid user, right? So I think the complaint for attributes was legitimate. And I think it's accurately depicted in the game now. Again, hundreds and hundreds of wrestlers have had attributes added. Okay, one thing I thought of today that I wanted to add for Ric Flair was unfaithful, because he was not unfaithful, nails Ric Flair, and everybody knows it. So there it is. It's added in. Okay. So this is the work that I've put in, and it has been, again, just tens and tens and tens and tens of hours of work going through and editing all these wrestlers and getting the skills better in line and getting the popularity in line and getting the attributes in line. Now, here's another important thing that I would like to point out. I worked with a couple friends, one in particular. His name is Richard Wright. He's a good man. Richard Wright has been a fan and a supporter of the SUPERMOD since day one. And Richard brought up a good point. And he said, the product for the companies isn't accurate. So he and I went through, he made some suggestions. I made my own suggestions, and we adjusted, and he was absolutely right. All Japan Pro Wrestling was under like Classic Balanced or something. Royal Puro Riso is correct. It definitely was. The World Wrestling Federation didn't need to change because that one is under Classic Sports Entertainment, I believe. Yeah. But Crockett is under Southern Wrestling now, which is definitely accurate. Memphis is under Southern Wrestling, which is accurate. So we've made these adjustments, and it's just about every promotion is properly on there. And again, like I said, with the bookers, the hiring preferences and stuff like that are on there. Now, one last important thing that I want to bring up that I think is very key to understanding why we're getting the scores that we're getting in the mod. Now, we've run beta runs, okay? Let me see if I have any saved. I don't have any betas saved right now, sorry. We've run beta runs in the game, and you're still getting scores in the 90s for the WWF and in Crockett with certain wrestlers. And again, people say the scores are unrealistic, and I don't disagree. However, with the way with the way the game is designed, I think it's unavoidable. Because the product for, say, the WWF is based so highly on popularity, and the television exposure in the game is so high that the popularity gains are immense. Right? Let's take a look at the WWF's TV deals. This is just the WWF's TV deals. Okay, the exposure is massive. The other thing is that this game was not designed for touring schedules. This game was designed for you to do maybe a live event once a month and then do television. That's the way the game's designed. So the major popularity gains would be slowed or retarded, and I don't mean that in the negative connotation. It's a retard, it's a slow, it's a retardation. That's just a fancy word for saying slow. If you run it the way the game is intended, not running live events and touring schedules and stuff like that, your popularity gains are going to be capped just on television and that one live event a month. Well, when you play the SUPERMOD, and you're playing, 25 live events a month, plus the television tapings, the popularity of the wrestlers is going through the roof. So that is also contributing to the high scores, especially combined with the product of the companies. So I think when you start seeing those high 90 scores and stuff like that, it's unavoidable. Are the regular Joe wrestlers back in line? Yeah. Are numbers more realistic? Yes, absolutely. Are the live event scores more realistic? Yes. Everything has been harnessed. And frankly, I think if you're one of the people that didn't want to give the SUPERMOD a try because you felt that the scores were too high, the attributes weren't there, stuff like that, I think that's been fixed about as best as it can. And of course, this is going to take, many, many more versions of the mod to really get things ironed out because I'm always learning more and I'm always editing and contributing more to the SUPERMOD. But I think for those of you that were detractors to the SUPERMOD because you didn't like the lack of attributes or you felt that the skill sets were too high, I think we've got things fixed and I think you're going to like it. And I hope that you'll give the SUPERMOD a try because I think we got these things ironed out and I think it's more conducive to your gameplay. So give it a shot, everybody. So that's it. I'm going to end with that. And like I said, I put a ton of work into this. I've consulted with some other people who have also helped me contribute to figuring things out for the mod. And I think 10.1 is the best product we've ever had. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. And like I always say, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button and leave us a message below. Let us know how you found us and let us know what you think of the mod. You can also find us on social media. You can find us on Discord under 1987 SUPERMOD. You can find us on Facebook under facebook.com/groups/1987 SUPERMOD. You can also find us on Patreon, patreon.com/PowerCast Network. You can also find us on Reddit under the subreddit of TEW 2020 Friends. Thanks again, everybody. We'll be back in action tomorrow with a regular show. Thank you.